Brandon Lewis here. We've got stories. Gender-confused woman accused of making threats against Tennessee school released from psychiatric facility. Might should have kept that one. Chattanooga Office of New Americans appears to encourage illegal alien participation in community services. Hamilton County Democrats publicly admit to illegal crossover voting. We know it's happening all over the state. Illegal alien arrested for especially aggravated kidnapping in Tennessee. Another illegal alien jailed and facing child sexual abuse material charges. Tennessee gay group encourages gender-confused teens to get matched with adult mentors. What could go wrong? With no parental consent required. Hitting, kicking, and jerking students. Memphis, Shelby County Schools. Multiple violations mean risk of losing federal money. Maybe that's the best thing that could happen to that school system. And finally, school voucher and hospital groups top lobbying and spending list for 2024 in the legislative session. Here I am, Brandon Lewis, the Tennessee conservative. I am Tennessee's conservative anchorman, bringing you the truth that the mainstream media will not bring as a conservative citizen journalist. Thank you for tuning in, guys. If you do not get our e-newsletter, if you're just following us on social media, you are missing out on the bulk of the stories and our in-depth coverage. To go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com, hit that subscribe button. You may also text the word news, N-E-W-S, to 423-205-5600. That's 423-205-5600. And follow us everywhere. Gab, Getter, Truth, MeWe, Rumble. And if you'd rather listen, of course, our podcast is anywhere you get podcasts. Just search for Tennessee Conservative. Guys, let's get on with the program. All right, gender-confused woman accused of making threats against Tennessee school released from psychiatric facility. A gender-confused woman, Mackenzie McClure, who allegedly made threats against a private school she attended as a child, has been released from a psychiatric facility in Sevierville, Tennessee. Watch out, Sevierville. My sister-in-law lives over there. Watch out, Heather. Be careful. Mackenzie McClure, a former student of Christ Presbyterian Church, was arrested and accused of cyberstalking after she made threats against Bill Lee and his wife, Maria, a former teacher at a private school, and social media back in April. Social media posts were a series of questionable activities before law enforcement took action against McClure. This lady thinks she is a man and left a voicemail for people at the school referencing a Marvel Deadpool 2 movie, I guess some kind of veiled threat. After threats against the Lees, McClure was taken into federal custody where she was held in solitary confinement and then transferred to Pasadena Villa, wherever that is. And she has been released to stay with her parents and continue treatment on an outpatient basis. But her parents live just blocks away from the bus stop that is used by students of the same school where she made threats. After the massacre at the Covenant School in 2023 by another gender-confused woman and former student, it is surprising that U.S. District Court Magistrate Judge Chip Frensley would grant McClure this level of freedom, especially as FBI agents also testified that McClure appeared to be headed towards violence before her arrest. Oh, what world we live in. It's just nonsense. Like, let's pretend we're something we're not, and then let's take medical and mental treatments to turn us into something we can never be. What could go wrong? Next story. Chattanooga Office of New Americans appears to encourage illegal alien participation in community services. In November of 2023, Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly's administration launched a Bridging Community series of bi-monthly workshops designed as a coalition of nonprofits and city providers for immigrant and refugee populations. Yet another magnet, courtesy of a left-leaning mayor, as our cities in Tennessee continue to crumble and crime continues to rise. While programs aiding the assimilation of illegal immigrants should be encouraged, this collaboration appears to extend its reach to folks that just come here illegally. The meetings are hosted by the Department of Equity and Community Engagement, if that's not a dead giveaway, which includes the Office of New Americans, not naturalized Americans, not legal Americans, just new, and several partner organizations, including Tennessee Immigration and Refugee Rights Coalition, Bridge Refugee Services, Representative Chuck Fleischman's office, and Volunteers in Medicine, amongst others. Karen Clay, listed as the ONA Neighborhood Relations Specialist, responded to an inquiry asking if the meetings were open to any individual, regardless of their immigration status, with a single-line email that simply read, yes, it is open to any citizens who would like to attend. Apparently, Karen thinks that you are a citizen of Chattanooga, I suppose, if you come here illegally or no matter what. The stance strongly suggests illegal aliens are not only welcome, but are also encouraged to partake of services provided by partner organizations, many of which I assume are taxpayer funded. Aren't you so glad that you work and slave under this oppressive government that probably takes somewhere around half of what you make, so that it can be given to people who break laws, while the folks that are going through the proper channel are treated like garbage and subjected to long, onerous processes and are charged bukus of money, even if they are related to a U.S. citizen, married to one. It's amazing. Here we go. Hamilton County Democrats publicly admit to illegal crossover voting. Hamilton County Democrat voters publicly admitted to pulling Republican primary voters in the 2024 primary election to select a more moderate Republican candidate than the Democrat. Despite their efforts, incumbent Patsy Hazelwood lost to grassroots conservative Michelle Renaud in the August primary. Renaud will now face Democrat Kathy Lennon. She's going to mop the floor with her. It's going to be great. In a Reddit post from August, a Hamilton County Democrat voter posted a screenshot of live primary election night results and asked if they should have, I guess had some buyer's remorse, requested a Democrat ballot instead of a Republican one in order to boost Lennon's number. Of voter states in no uncertain terms, quote, I'm a straight ticket Democrat, but pull Republican primary ballots because I feel it offers me the most voice in my representation. Essentially admitting to illegal voter fraud. Many of the comments in the section post not only affirm the voters' action, but admit also to voting in Republican primaries in an attempt to neutralize more conservative candidates. When these races are close, it matters when a few hundred Democrats cross over, and in some cases, a few thousand Democrats cross over in these bigger races. We got to close the primaries. Hopefully, TN GOP leadership will finally do this. They have killed the bills to close the primaries for at least a decade because they want people in power who are moderate, and most of them in leadership are moderate. And so the Democrats come and help them, and that's why they want them on their side. But we need Republicans and Republicans only picking these candidates. Illegal alien arrested for especially aggravated kidnapping. Boy, I could read we could make the entire Big Seven just stories like this if we wanted to. An illegal alien in Knoxville is facing kidnapping charges after an incident involving a domestic dispute. Last month, 20-year-old Omar Cortez was taken into custody on August 26 following an extensive search by Knoxville police. Cortez allegedly pushed his girlfriend from her car after they got into what was described as a violent argument that morning. He left and drove off with their 4-year-old daughter still in the car. I'm sure that didn't affect that young lady at all. He was taken into custody and charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. Records show that Francis Morelos was also arrested August 26 in Knox County and charged with felony aggravated assault. He also has an immigration retainer hold. Whew. Guys, if you want us to stay in business, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. We are raising money to send a correspondent to Nashville. We will see if we can reach our goal. More on that later. We have got some initial support coming in. Guys, we can't do this without your support. I'm telling you, the only thing that allows me to come out here in my tank top in the woods and bring the news to tens of thousands, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands, as our stories travel across Tennessee with consistency, is because we are not corporately funded. And most of our GOP leadership is corporately funded, and that's why they vote in a way that's contrary with what GOP primary voters want. And so if I'm going to be able to continue to bring you the news, we got overhead, we got staff, we got reporters, we got software bills, you name it, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support or mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. That is P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. If you give $50 or more or a recurring donation of $10 or more, we'll send you a proud Tennessee conservative koozie and a tumbler. And guys, what better gift can you have than to display that you are, in fact, unabashedly unashamed to be a conservative in Tennessee? Next story. Illegal alien jailed in Tennessee facing child sexual abuse material charges. Man, I wish leadership would do something about this stuff. An illegal alien was arrested in Davidson County last month and charged with felony sexual exploitation of a minor after tips led police to find more than 200 files that included child sex abuse. The investigation began back in June after police received cyber tips from National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The tips say the Google account registered under the name Eswar Rayo and connected to a Davidson County phone number had uploaded over 100 files with child sex abuse. After obtaining a search warrant, officers found more than 200 files, so on and so forth. That's what we need to be important. That's what we need to be attracting to Tennessee. That's what we need to be giving jobs and free education and welfare benefits and everything else to, according to the Republican leadership, because every time a bill is brought to stop any of that, they kill it. Next story, Tennessee gay group encourages gender-confused teens to get matched with adult mentors with no parental consent required. What could go wrong? According to a concerned parent that contacted the Tennessee Conservative last Friday, PRISM, a youth arm of Memphis gay group that gives financial assistance to illegal aliens, I mean, they're twofer here, right? Sent a graphic through the Remind app to teens, informing them that trans or, quote, gender-diverse ages from 14 to 18 could connect with a trans or gender-diverse adult mentor and earn up to $170 in the process. Probably wouldn't have any sexual deviants wanting to mentor these kids, would we? The sign-up website address takes teens to the beginning of a screening process for a research study called the Teen Connection Project, being ran by University of Nebraska-Lincoln under the direction of queer professor Dr. Katie Edwards. You can't make this stuff up. The study is set to run until the end of January 2025. It is funded by a National Institutes of Health grant. Why do we have the medical community trying to encourage people to think that they are a different sex than they are? We have seen the mental, physical, and spiritual harm that this is causing our youth. It is obvious in the statistics and the studies. Man. The consent form that all participants must read clearly states that, quote, you do not have to get your caregiver or parent's permission to be part of this project. The program aims to recruit 140 teens, with half of them paired with one of 20 adult mentors. Brainwashing sessions, I suppose. During the sign-up process, teens are asked for their names, phone numbers, emails, home address, and asked which of these contacts is safe or unsafe, meaning they want to keep the parents from knowing that their kids are putting themselves in these dangerous positions. In order to be part of the project, teens must agree to a once a week for 7 weeks via Zoom for 90-minute group program, which no one but the teen can attend. The screening process specifically states that no siblings or parents can sit in on the sessions. After the group sessions, youth will be paired with an adult mentor based upon shared social identities and interests. Whew. Get your kids out of these government schools. In that vein, hitting, kicking, and jerking students, Memphis, Shelby County schools, multiple violations risk loss of federal funding. Memphis and Shelby County schools are in jeopardy of losing $30 million worth of federal funding after repeated violations were uncovered in their Head Start program. Gosh, send your impressionable young children to a Head Start program, see what happens. While the system has been receiving the funding for years, reports now say they have violated at least 3 of the requirements of the program. Since 2020, they've had multiple reports from Head Start officials who documented a number of instances in which case teachers, if you can call them that, were found hitting, kicking, and jerking students. The school system receives funding, of course, from Head Start programs to the Tennessee Department of Education, your tax dollars at work. They will reapply for the funds in October, and if the grant would become effective, if they are found to be in compliance. Who is spending the money to buy your politicians up in Nashville? Who's spending the most money, right? They're easily and cheaply bought up there in Nashville. I mean, it's like a clearance sale for lobbyists. If you want to get in to millions or billions of taxpayer dollars, all you got to do is grease a few palms up in Nashville with campaign contributions, and the next thing you know, they'll do whatever you ask them to, even if it's completely contrary to what we know based upon polling and survey that GOP primary voters who sent them to Nashville, who they promised to represent. School voucher and hospital groups top lobbying spending for 2024 in the Tennessee legislative session. I wonder if that hospital spending had anything to do with all of our rights taken away during COVID. Perish the thoughts. Americans for Prosperity and the American Federation for Children spent around $1.25 million on lobbying during this year's legislative session, as both pushed for school vouchers. The expenses continue to show out-of-state spending behind Lee's plan to offer students $7,200 each in state-funded private school tuition. Americans for Prosperity and American Federated Children are national groups running Tennessee-based operations, which hire local lobbyists and political staff as part of their lobbying expense. It also included money spent on mailers. Koch Industries founder Charles Koch funded Americans for Prosperity, the Americans Federation for Children, funded by several wealthy individuals, including Jim and Alice Walton, heirs to the Walmart fortune, Betsy DeVos, and the former education secretary. During the August 2024 primary election cycle, a group called the School Freedom Fund spent over $3 million backing pro-voucher Republicans. Candidates through independent expenditures. In total, the pro-voucher group spent over $4.5 million in this year's primary. The Center for Individual Freedom and HCA Healthcare, the largest for-profit hospital chain in the United States, spent almost $1 billion, $1 million combined on lobbying in 2024, while the Tennessee Hospital Association spent over $300,000. Other groups topping the lobbying list include Ballad Health, which is resisting increased regulation for lawmakers in the state health department on its state-approved monopoly agreement. Why do we have Republicans approving monopolies? It seems like crony capitalism to me. What do you think? Guys, those are the stories. You even got an extra bonus one. Getting through this really quick. I got to move on. I got stuff to do today. Guys, what's going on this weekend? I'm going to get the old hairs cut as soon as I get a chance, and I'm going to go work out at the sports barn and come home. That's my Friday activity. This weekend, we've got a great music festival up here, Smoke on the Mountain, at the Walden Civic League. It's right down the road. So I plan to go to that puppy, see what's going on. And then I've got some chores to do around the house. That have piled up. And of course, work is stacked up and backed up, as it always is, running two companies. One of them has my heart and the other one has my money. And so that's why I volunteer for the Tennessee Conservative. Guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for your thoughts, your prayers, your support. It means the world to me. Let's get the information out there to other conservatives. In closing, if you know of a conservative, somebody who watches Fox News, listens to Tucker Carlson, seems to know a lot about what's going on in national politics, yet for whatever reason knows virtually nothing about what's going on in their state government, please do forward our address to them, our email address and our website address and our social media platforms, and ask them to get on the list so that we can educate them. Because I am convinced if GOP primary voters knew how far afield their leadership was from their desires in the state of Tennessee, we could have a different group of people running the state, representing the party platform instead of the corporations. Guys, love you, mean it. Brandon Lewis here with the 10 Con Big 7, signing off. See you next time.